once again,
User
it's a
joined your
great
channel.
showing for the community as a whole. I mean, fuck, look at this room. That's just cool stuff. We actually bumped our server cap to 150 just for this, and we definitely needed to. So that's cool. If you don't know the main staff for this event, this is sort of me and Funky's love child, but we've also got Funky Little Elf. Sorry, I'll use his full name, for those of you who don't know. Funky Little Elf is the software engineer who's made our map for us. If you haven't seen that, you can see the final turn of the last campaign up there. You can click on the planets. It's all interactive. There's a lot of information there, and it looks fucking cool. We're really proud of that. The other main people, if you're ever looking for information, are Bersenex and Queenblade. They've both helped out quite a bit, both with rules development, writing a bunch of the literature, and getting stuff rolling. So definitely those three, in addition to myself, you can always come to with questions or whatever. Okay, so I've got a list of shit to go over. We're just going to try and get through it quickly. If you have direct questions to exactly what I'm talking about, feel free to speak up. I'm sure someone else has a question. If it's somewhat unrelated, maybe just write it down, save it for the end. We'll do a big Q&A. The dream is we're just going to get through everything, and then people can leave and do whatever they want, and then those with questions or people that need to go over some stuff afterwards, we can do that all later, rather than wasting everyone's time. Okay, so start off, mailing list. Last season I had a big master mailing list of 30 emails that every time I did an update, which I always post right on the front page of the website, I would mail that update out to people. If you're interested in doing that, send me an email at that mericcivilwar@gmail account or through Engine, and I'll get you added. Turns out I suck at losing the odd thing, so if you don't hear back from me or something like that, you're missing emails, maybe just double check, because this many people, certain things slip through the cracks, unfortunately. So, mailing list. If you're interested in that, send me your contact info, and I'll add you to the list. Not hugely important. I always post it on the front page of the site, so it's not a big deal. Okay, next thing is rosters and contact info. Almost all the teams have done it already. If you could tonight, that would be great. If you haven't done it, just get up your rosters and the contact info. Roster deadline at the very, very, very latest is like 10 minutes before your first game, but, out of good sportsmanship, try and get that done. Don't worry too much about, I don't know if this guy's on my roster, should I put him on? You can change your rosters at any point in the trial of position, like add people to them. There's no big deal there. It's just, for the main campaign, it becomes particularly important, so we start doing that here.
I have a roster, but it is a disaster area.
To be honest, the roster is as simple as copy and paste, 500 names, put them on a sheet, you're done. So,
yeah, I'll just give you what I have.
Yeah, if 90% of those people aren't even active, it's not really a big deal. It's just more record keeping and making sure that we don't have ringers playing for, multiple teams and all that. That's really what it's there for. Okay, so one disclaimer I need to put out there, and if this means that you guys can't participate in the campaign, we totally accept that, and that's not a big problem. But we're trying something new here that we'd like people's participation in. Obviously, I'm one of the co-founders of Mercstar, as well as co-founder of Marik Civil War, so those two get intertwined in certain ways. We've really developed Mercstar as the center point of all competitive play. I mean, essentially every competitive league is, in Mercstar, and we support each other and, promote the competitive scene. One of the new things we're doing with Mercstar is we want to push the social media aspect of this. I mean, we all have wet dreams of this game going to esport level, and maybe we could make a few pennies playing this. Who knows? For that to ever happen, we need to push that scene, right? We need to get things moving. So what we want to do is start pushing the media. We've got a bunch of shoutcasting going on. So by playing in this campaign and continuing on, we're going to take that as you guys agreeing to two terms. One, that we can shoutcast your game at some point if we want to do that. Frankly, this is all positive, advertisement for you guys. I can't think of many reasons you wouldn't want us to do this, but if this is a problem, let us know. Maybe we can work around it. The other thing, and shout out to the MRBC guys, totally stole this from them. We're gonna request that units post a recording of all of their games on the Marik Civil War site. Trial position doesn't matter so much. Later on down the road, we'll actually be giving teams minor bonus points for doing this. Do not have to have audio recording. If you're uncomfortable with that, that's understandable. Not every team is that cool under pressure or whatever. So, I know the SWK has broken down on more than one occasion, and, we don't exactly love people getting to watch that. Point being, you don't need the audio. We simply want a video recording. By posting that on on Marik Civil War, you'll be able to, get some free advertising, essentially. You got team, hey, I want to come join Clan Jade Falcon. I hear these guys are really cool guys. Well, this is a great place where teams can watch some of your videos, get to know your team, right? From there, we're also going to push those videos and put them on Mercstar. We want to start developing a database where you click on the video section, and then you'll have a list of pretty much every comp team. You click on that comp team, and it'll give you a list of all the comp games, and you can go back and watch all these games. Hopefully give some replay value to some of these games. So, as I said, if you're uncomfortable with this, you're more than welcome to drop out. Maybe we could work around it even. But, other teams will be scoring these bonus points, and we hope that this is a direction people are comfortable with, right? And once again, it's really, we just want to push comp play in the community, right? Because that's the next step. We look at every successful game out there, and it tends to have a pretty vibrant comp scene that leads the way, right? So, that's the dream. Okay. Next, couple things we want to update you on just on that thing. Morgan, do you mind muting yourself? We're getting a bit of your heavy breathing. Sounds like you're excited.
Dude, I'm pretty excited.
Hard to contain myself.
Yeah, man.
Got a happy already.
You did say sound team.
So, two more hopefully exciting aspects we want to push with Marik Civil War and Mercstar. First one is Queenblade is the master of all knowledge, past and present. He's going to be recording. Now, he used to do this for just 228. He records everything, which gives you some amazing stat lines. You can pick up a pilot, look how they've done over the course of 4 months of comp play. You got your kill-death ratios, you got your average damage, things like that. He's being a real boss, and he's going to do this for every team. Him and Versinex are setting up a script that will sort of record these things properly. Yes, Wikiblade is his name. That's what SWK calls him. He knows everything. The point being that all of these stats are going to be recorded and displayed, at 2 clicks at worst, right? So that information's there for you guys to use freely, and do what you will with it. We just want to let you know that that information is there. And we might also direct that to Mercstar at some point, have some sort of a database or whatever. But that's a little down the road. The other thing we're pretty excited about is Versinex has a pretty cool concept that he's actually hired someone out of his own pocket, to my knowledge, to help develop.
No, I just drafted him.
Okay.
228 member.
Versinex, why don't you let people know about this one?
Okay, so one thing that you guys, if you've been reading through the rulebooks, especially the new teams out there, shit gets confusing. And particularly doing drop decks. And me being a spreadsheet warrior, I made all the spreadsheets for my unit, and I've even made spreadsheets for other units to be able to play in these competitions. But it's gotten to the point, especially with keeping up to date and all the players and all that stuff. It's going to get to the point where spreadsheets just aren't good enough anymore. And so we got a hold of a developer, one of the guys in my unit, and he is making a dropship drop deck application for Mercstar that you guys will be able to use. It's very simple. It's going to basically act very much like Smurfy, except for it's going to be able to build drop decks, organize drop decks, and set up drop decks for competitive play. So you can go to it and you can say, I want to build the 3 drop decks that I will be using in Marik Civil War. And it says, okay, cool. Here's the 3 drop decks. And it'll automatically limit you to a 550 composition, a 675, and an 800. Not only that, it'll prevent you from restricting, from bringing too much of the mechs, because certain times you can't bring more of certain chassis. You have to have 5 chassis, different chassis for certain drops. All of that will be built into it automatically, and it'll throw up big red warning signs. That way, the only thing that you guys have to worry about is building it ahead of time and then making sure that all of your players are in the drop decks. And as of the alpha testing for it, we're just going to have it so you can type in names, but eventually we'll be able to have it completely integrated all through Mercstar so that you guys can actually have a unit roster on Mercstar, and it'll pull up the members of that unit, so you can just use your unit members, and that way the rosters are all automatically up to date. So anytime that you guys play in competitions in the future, all you have to do is link your roster from Mercstar straight to the competition, or it might be on the competitions will then be on Mercstar. That'll be done depending on if PGI can stand up to their capacity of actually keeping deadlines. We'll find out. They have recently gone about showing us information about each of the player profiles and a list of the mechs that they own. We're looking to, in the future, actually use that and integrate it into the drop deck system, so that when you put a player, you say, I am going to put Vercinix in a, commando, death knell, it'll pop up with a big red warning sign that says, actually, Vercinix doesn't own a death knell. And so you can't even put your players into those. So you literally, we're going to make it so that you guys cannot fuck up your drop decks whatsoever. The initial one, which we will have probably about halfway through the trial of position, will be very bare bones. It'll have the dragging and the information and prevent you from doing stuff, but all the integration into Mercstar and stuff won't be there. But we're really excited for it because it'd be really nice to do that. And it's also going to be completely integrated with RHOD and MRBC. It's not just Marik. So the units out there that are looking at other competitions or being in competitions in the future, we're going to make it so that it's involved with every single competition that's backed by Mercstar. And so we're really excited about bringing that to you guys and making that available, because some people they see a spreadsheet and they immediately their balls suck up into their stomach, and we want to kind of take away that nerdiness and make it very nice and smooth so that anyone can do it for on their own. I'm done, Max.
Very excited about that. I mean, that program, you take Mercstar and Marik Civil War out of the picture, that program is gold. And then you add it to Mercstar and Marik Civil War, and it's beautiful. And the rules for Marik Civil War, there's a lot of rules. They're not complicated, but there's a lot, right? Even SWK is fucked up, and we cheated against
many times.
Many times. The point being, this drop deck calculator, godsend. It's going to be a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and the other thing is eventually we have lots of meat that we want to put on it, but we're looking at actually making it so... Oh, that was one of the things I wanted to add for you guys. We're actually going to have it integrated with Smurfy so that you can put Smurfy links for the builds, so that you can actually put your pointer over the mech and it'll say, bam, here's the build. And it'll put up a nice little picture of like the actual loadout of the mech, so you can actually see what you're supposed to be piloting in case your unit uses like 3 different variants of the Shadowhawks, for example. It'll have all that integrated, and we're eventually going to try to make it so that it'll actually cross-reference those links and tell you if you're in a no PPC match and you put PPC Highlanders in there, that's an illegal composition and you cannot bring that. So we're trying to make it literally as idiot-proof as possible. But that's further down the road, and like I said, my guy's doing this completely pro bono in love of my unit and me for strong arming him into this. So bear with us. I'm pretty sure. I'm thinking I'll get the alpha within a week, and we'll get a beta out there for everyone to play test, and that way you guys can give feedback on Mercstar with actual I like this, I didn't like this, can you move this, these colors suck, I'm colorblind, why didn't you think of that, all that kind of stuff. We'll have that out probably, I'm guessing, in 3 weeks.
Also, it will make your breakfast and possibly shine your shoes.
Awesome.
And feed the baby.
And open
Breakfast
your bottles.
machine.
Where do I donate money?
Well, I guess on that front, we've always, between Merc Civil War and Mercstar, we've always covered the costs happily ourselves. If you are looking to show your support monetarily, who are we to say no to that? There's a couple ways you can do that. Merc Civil War, I did add a donate button. Literally the only cost to Merc Civil War other than the time is the $9 a month for the engine site. If any of you want to donate, please, that'd be fantastic.
Of course,
if not,
Rex is also saying that I'm probably just going to redo his website and host it as well. So whenever that fucking happens,
there's a fight over engine's horrible and the fact that everyone uses engine and it's super easy and all of that stuff, and we'll have that argument till the end of time, really, because it is crappy, but it is also what everyone uses. Hard to. Okay, so in addition to that, Mercstar, the TS, obviously, we just bumped up to the 150. If you guys have a lot of love for what we do over here, you can also donate towards the team server costs.
Sweet.
That one's always good too. So if you're looking for something, once again, absolutely no pressure. If none of you ever donate, it's not like we're going to shut down. We love this and we'll continue to support it till computer.
Yeah, it's got enough financial backing to keep it running.
But we'll throw that out there since you asked. Related to that with this TeamSpeak, obviously this doesn't matter for most of you. You got it set up, but we have the Hotel Diplomatica below us there. What we've hoped to do with Mercstar is make it that central point where, if you got to schedule a game with someone, you just look in that hotel and you can probably find the unit leader for the team you're looking for. If you can't, you can definitely find someone who can point you in the right direction, right? So if you don't currently have a room in the hotel, please let us know. We'll set you up one. If you don't have tags, we can set you up with that. Anyone who needs to be unit rep, let us know. We'll tag you with that. Unit rep allows you to tag other people, and I think you can create...
Break. Jenners, are you starting left, right, or center?
You're in the wrong channel.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Sorry, guys.
This happens at least twice a day with Siri.
Well.
Okay, so, let us know. Don't send me messages right now, obviously. I'm going to lose them. But, talk to Deadfire, talk to Versi, really anyone. We'll set you up with that stuff. Just for you to know, in order for people to move around fully, you have to tag them as normal. So right-click on their name, set channel group, normal. It's like right in the middle. If they have normal, they can move around freely. That's the only thing to sort of need to know. Everything else is super easy. Okay, moving on. If you don't know, it's super easy to... When I sign on to TeamSpeak, I sign on to 8 channels all at once. If you go bookmarks, right-click on it, go edit bookmark, there's a tab in the very bottom left corner, connect on startup. That just means when you double-click and turn TeamSpeak on, it'll sign you in here, and you can auto-set it to dump your clone in your channel, right? And then it's super easy. Anyone who needs to contact, you're trying to get a hold of Victor Morrison to schedule a game against Blazing Aces. Hey, he's in that room. Give him a poke. Beautiful. You're on your road. So that's the whole point of the hotel, is just making the communication part really easy. All right. So, most of you probably noticed I posted the turn 1 attack orders. So what we're doing is we're going to do 3 rounds of trial of position. Each round is going to be 6 days. We're going to do the 3 rounds, then we're going to sort of reevaluate. That'll give us an idea of where some people stand. We'll make a couple changes. Then we're going to do another 3 rounds, and that will give us all our final pairings. And from there, we'll have our Marik Civil War ELO system, more or less. And then we'll be able to divvy the teams out to the factions and make the most balanced factions we can. For the veterans of the previous season, obviously Green had a bit of an advantage because 228 went from Tier 3 to Tier 1 over the course of the season. Going back to Season 1, you had 2 very dominant factions, and the other factions, had trouble sort of keeping up. So that's the whole point, is a big, fair, balanced campaign. So, Han, do you mind muting yourself? All right. So the attack orders. So you're supposed to play 1 game in every 6 days. I've got the scheduling thing on that post. It should be pretty clear. Any questions, let us know. Feel free to play those games out of order. It doesn't matter, really. It's just more a guideline. If, you and your opponent have free time in round 1, but you don't play till round 2 or 3, feel free to play the game. It's only going to make your life easier, getting shit done earlier. So that being said, if you can't get your game scheduled, there's a minor amount of leeway, but we have so many teams, we really can't just stop for, 1 battle, right? That holds everyone else up. So essentially, get your games done, schedule in advance, schedule early, schedule often, just like quick saving in difficult games. Just do it, it'll make your life easier. Because we simply can't hold the campaign up for, 2 teams to finish 1 game. And so that's a really good sign for those of you newer units trying to prove, hey, we should be a Tier 3 team, but we're pirates right now. Well, scheduling and playing all your games in a good amount of time really shows you've got what it takes to play regular comp games every week. It's the teams that can't get scheduled games. Those are the teams that, unfortunately, will have to relegate to pirates simply because we can't have them slowing down the main campaign, right? The restrictions for the attacks, I just rolled it randomly. Forget what the order is. I think it's no jump jets, no PPCs, no ECM. We're just going to do those 3 to start with. In the campaign...
No Artie.
What?
Oh, yes. I'll get to that stuff. With the restrictions, for those of you who don't know, you'll play on planets that range from having no restrictions to 1 restriction, 2 restrictions, all the way up to Atreus, which has every restriction. So there's all sorts of things. Just for the trial, we're just going to have 1 restriction per planet, at least to start with. Keep it simple. Moving on to the Artie Strike, Airstrike. We're just going to remove it from the trial of position for now. It's not going to be fully removed from the main campaign, but with the trial position, we definitely want to test teams according to their skill at mech piloting rather than your skill at headshot artying, because that's pretty random number generator shit there. So by removing those, hopefully that'll give us more accurate results in the trial position. They won't be fully removed for the full campaign, but they will be restricted. We reserve the right to the second PGI makes a change to arty strikes and airstrikes. We're going to reevaluate it and possibly change the map a little bit. The point being, for right now, we're just going to play without the strikes because it'll make the trial position results a little more accurate, I think.
What you're saying is in the trial position, no arty, no air.
Yeah, no strikes of any kind. We had toyed with saying some planets had arty strike, but no airstrike, and then vice versa. There's just no way to police it, right? It's it's going to cause us problems. So it's either on or off, unfortunately, right now. So we're going to play with it off for the trial. Think of it this way: you just saved 80 grand per match. You can thank me for that later.
Thank you.
Okay, so the current rules. There is a quick little rule section I put in for the trial position. That's the bare bones rules. That's pretty much everything you need to know. Read the main rules. The main rules, we're going to rewrite the rules and update it for Season 3. Well, not a big deal right now because none of those rules really apply to the trial position. Or at least a lot of them don't. So if you're reading the rules and it says, hey, there's only 3 factions, well, there's only 3 teams per faction, well, we have 4 teams per faction. That'll all get updated, just only so much time to get shit done, right? And we've got a month until the main campaign starts, so. Okay, that's that. How the points work. You are scoring points that will count towards the final scores. We do 10 points per win in the regular season. In the trial position, we do half a rate, so you score 5 points per win. There's also no bonus points being scored for the trial position. So the games do count. They're just weighted a little bit less as we're just doing the trials right now.
User left your channel.
So last season we had a number of referees helping out. Give a shout out to Nannerhammock. He was the only ref who ever had to deal with significant shit ever, and he did a great job handling it, as far as I'm concerned. Last season we really didn't need a lot of refs. Marik Civil War Season 2 had a number 1 rule was no douchebags. That really helped for the most part. We didn't invite some of the bad apple teams, that don't get along with others. This season, obviously, double the teams. A lot of you guys are new to the comp scene. A lot of you guys I don't know personally. So perhaps some douchebags made it through the filter. I'm not saying they did, but the point is, this campaign only works if you guys all work with each other and play, right?
He's telling you to stay classy.
Stay classy, exactly. And that's the thing that made Season 2 so successful, was that everyone got along, everyone scheduled their games. The number of legitimate problems we had was like 2, and it was the same game, just on 2 different days. And that was literally the only problem I know of. So,
I can tell you, the more I have to police you, the less I like you.
There you go. So, once again, it's all about sportsmanship. We also have best sportsmanship bonus points for the main campaign. That doesn't matter right now. But the point is, literally, just look at this room. How many people do we have? Without the sportsmanship and you guys trying to get along and make things work, the campaign really falls apart. So, please, best behavior. We all love this game and we love playing it. So, we all got to work together to keep this shit going, right? So, hopefully that doesn't need to be reiterated, but there it is. So with the refs, for the trial position, we're just going to use Nannerhammock, Versi, and Queenblade for refs. We might pick up 1 or 2 extra ones. How that worked before was the referees would leave a clone in the referee storage locker, which will be in this Marik channel here. Essentially, you're playing your games, something comes up, a rules question you're unsure of, the other team's being horrible, whatever. The point is, if you need a ref, there should be clones of refs in this room. Give them a poke, and they're here to help, right? That being said, always try and sort things out with your opponent first, right? Teams don't often like having a ref called on them right away without even being talked to. It doesn't set the mood very well. The point being, just communication is key. Talk to your opponents. Let them know what's going on. Especially with mulligans and some of that stuff. Just let people know what's going on. Communication is key. The one example from last season was, we had a game between 2 teams where a mulligan was kind of called. It wasn't really responded to by the other team, and then it was just kind of confusing. The point is, communication is key. If a mulligan's called by one team, the other team should respond with something. Confirm it. Okay, mulligan confirmed. Commit suicide. Reset. All that. But communication is really key. It makes everything work so much better.
I will also say that if ever you think that a ref might not like you, remember that Versi and I and Queen, we honestly are rules lawyers. It has nothing to do with whether we like you or not. If it stands up to the rules, then we'll rule in your favor. It is really completely obligatory, even if it hurts us.
And that rule book is like 14 goddamn pages, so
Yeah.
the chance that you guys have a unique circumstance is very rare. And that's when we really come into the picture, is when we have to make a ruling that isn't in that book.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened with the one problem that came up last season was they drew in Assault, but we had played Conquest entirely before then. We didn't have rules for a draw on Assault, so we had to make them up on the fly. And it's, never happened again. We hopefully covered it all. I swear to God, our rule book is bigger than everyone else's rule book combined.
You can swear to guard.
I can swear to God, yeah, that works too.
Com guards.
Com guards, exactly. They know everything. Okay, pretty much the last thing then is simply just the rules violation thing, and this goes with the sportsmanship thing. If you read the rules are very hard-lined in that, let's use the 15-minute rule, for example. So in between games, you're allowed 15 minutes in between games. Anything more than that, and you're wasting the other team's time, essentially. There's no reason you can't be ready, especially when we got our drop calc up. I mean, you shouldn't be needing to spend 15 minutes figuring out what's going on. The point being that in the rulebook it says, okay, after 15 minutes, you forfeit that game. We never want to enforce that stuff, but it's there in case we need to. Okay, so the prime example is, okay, you're playing a team, it's 17 minutes in between games. Okay, well, hey, you tell them, hey, you guys are taking a long time. Is there anything we can do to help speed things up? Whatever. Communication's key, obviously. So if they do it again, well, then it's okay. We'll go tell a ref, and the ref will go, hey, guys, you gotta freaking speed this up, right? You're wasting everyone's time. From there, if it keeps being a problem, that's where we then go, okay, hey, in the rulebook, you just forfeited the game. And we don't want to do that. No one wants to win by forfeit, and no one definitely wants to lose by forfeit. I mean, we all just want to play the game, right? So, anytime there's a rules dispute, here's another good example, is SWK played Steel Jag. We broke our own rule. We only had 4 mech variants. It requires 5. We beat Steel Jag. Steel Jag was in their rights to call it a forfeit and take the win for themselves. They were very good sports about it. They said, hey, how about we just redrop it? And that's a great example of what you should do. If, obviously, when it becomes a problem, and then we cheat right after in the second game, well, then you're like, no, okay, well, now you forfeit. The point being, sportsmanship, work with your opponents. We all just want to play the game, so let's not get into rules lawyering and forcing teams to forfeit because of whatever. Let's just, get your shit together, make it work. That's pretty much everything. I mean, the campaign went so well last season. I've got great hopes for this season. We've got a ton of new blood. I mean, that's great. I can't tell you how much that excites me to see so many teams active. I mean, this right here, look at this room. MWO is not going anywhere. Got fucking 30 teams starting to play, right? And it is only getting bigger. So, thank you all for showing up. Any questions, let me know. The drop orders are posted. I will email it to the mailing list later on tonight once I get the last, sort of the people who weren't on the mailing list. And yeah, any questions, let us know. If you need a room in the hotel, let us know. So, at this point, thank you for coming to the meeting. 35 minutes? That might be the shortest meeting we've ever had. That's cool. So, anyone who wants to leave, feel free to take off, and then anyone who has questions or things they want to go over, we'll be here for the next hour, at least, trying to help people out. Last thing is, the campaign officially starts tomorrow, so you have 6 days, so Monday the 27th till February the 2nd, I think? I could get... that number might be one off. Anyways, the point is, you have 6 days starting tomorrow to schedule and play your first round. 6 days following that to schedule play your second round, and so on and so forth. Sorry about that. Someone came home. 4 dogs don't like that. So, feel free to schedule your games early. There's never anything wrong with that. And especially for those of you who are playing in RHOD as well, or MRBC, or any other league I'm missing, the point is, some teams, if you're playing in all the leagues, you're going to be playing 3 or 4 comp games a week almost, at a high point. So, schedule early, schedule often. It's the best way to make it all work. Because
And
unfortunately, if you
try
leave it all
not
to the
to
end,
double lap.
yeah, if you leave it to the end, you get screwed. And until we get private lobbies, don't plan on doing a double header. It probably won't happen. Not to say you can't try, but seriously, I mean, it's kind of tough to sync at the best of times. So, I think that's it. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you coming.
Quick question. What game mode are the trial position matches?
Oh, thank you. So we're gonna play it on Conquest. That's what we did last season. Now, once again, with the sportsmanship thing, if you ever work something out with the other team, you will take the results from what the two teams say they are. Examples are, say you play 2 games. It takes you like 3 hours to play 2 games. One team's up 2-0, and the other team says, you know what? You guys are slaughtering us, and we don't have time to finish it. Let's give you a 3-0. I'm not going to dispute that. If, anything you guys can work out, that's fine. So with Conquest, we're going to play on Conquest as the official setting for the trial position. Couple reasons being, until we get private lobbies, Conquest is hands down the easiest one to sync on. The other thing is, most of the other leagues run far, far away from Conquest, so that helps desync us with some of the other leagues playing. Now, with regards to the Conquest, if you and your opponent want to play Assault, you guys want to play Skirmish, you want to play Conquest with no capping, that is completely up to you guys, but that's for you to work out with your opposing team. And if, you guys can't come to a decision, then we just play Conquest. I believe that should answer the question.
Victor Morrison asked a question.
Will we be doing any skirmish on the main campaign? Yes and no. We still need to sort that out. So we'll know more about that. Once again, in the campaign, if 2 teams want to play skirmish, who am I to get in your way? But if the planet is, say it's an assault planet, and one team wants to play assault, then both teams have to play assault. But once again, if you guys want to play skirmish and both teams work it out, I will never tell you that's wrong. Where there was one other question I saw in there. So no shoutcasting during the trial. We will be doing shoutcasting during the trial. If you actually, that's another thing. If you or your opponent specifically want your game shoutcasted, obviously, if you hadn't heard, Mercstar's trying to push the shoutcasting thing. Let us know, and we'll try and get a team to shoutcast it for you. That being said, we'll tend to pick some of the best matchups, some of the highlight reel games, try and do those. But, if you guys would like that to happen, let us know, and we can see what we can do. PGI considers suicide reportable now.
Yes.
That only comes up... Oh. Okay, you're right. So, well, first of all, if you're playing another team, say you have a disconnect, both teams suiciding, there's zero problem with that, because the other team's obviously not going to report you. If you're dropping against some pug team, is that a problem? Does someone have a good answer on that?
I think the concern was the system would automatically ban you after a certain number of suicides.
Oh no, that doesn't sound good.
I've never ever been banned for suicide, and I've had like 5 missinks, so...
Yeah, we've done. I think all of us have done quite a bit of dying on purpose.
No, but it just wouldn't work. It can't automatically boot you for suiciding, because if you overheat while overriding your engine, while trying to shoot out an enemy, you're still going to be considered killing yourself. They won't ban you for trying to kill an enemy by overriding your engine. So you can't really be automatically booted out if you do too many suicides, just because of how the mechanics work.
And it's still the general consensus that if, by the way, if you're the one that is doing a mulligan, that you are the one that your team is supposed to be the one that suicides. Just so you know.
Yeah. So I guess here's our stance on the suiciding thing. If you feel uncomfortable doing it, or you're worried about getting a warning, or you already have a warning and you're not willing to go any further with it, I can't say you guys have to be suiciding. That's not fair. I would maybe discuss it with the opposing team, because if you misdrop one team suicides and the other team plays it out, then the suiciding team gets double screwed because they suicide and they have to sit there and wait. So maybe just talk to the other team, see what the policy is, because as long as you do the same thing, it should work out pretty good. Yeah, and Victor's right, and when you get 6 or 8 misdrops in a row, playing them all out really cuts into your time, right? And that's also why we want to stick with the Conquest thing, because Conquest is absolutely the easiest one to sync on. Now, one other thing, too, is we were hoping in the hotel, maybe, or in the Marik room, having a schedule of games. So maybe, okay, so Blazing Aces schedules their game against SIG. One of you guys just post, make a room that says, hey, SIG versus Blazing Aces Monday at 9 p.m. And then just delete it once you're done. If we have a list of all the games that are going on, it's easier to know if you're going to have problems syncing. Specifically, say there's 3 games all supposed to be played Thursday at 9 p.m. on Conquest. Well, all you do is all the units get together and you just, okay, you 2 drop, next 2 drop, next 2 drop, and the first time takes a little bit of time, but then you're offset from then on, right? So, once again, it comes down to communication. Talk to the other teams that are playing the drops. Also, there's tons of teams that practice 12-mans. If you need a Q buster, don't know what that is, that's Steeljack does it for us all the time, where all 3 of us will be in a room, they'll drop, the second they either miss a drop or they hit, they'll let us know, and then the other 2 teams start dropping. But definitely, yeah, Nana said it, just ask. I mean, we're all here to play robots and play with each other, right? So, yeah, let us know, and we can try and get a Q buster for you if PGI just does not want you to play that comp game. Or not PGI, but the matchmaker.
Antonius Rex, I just have a quick question. If any major changes or code upgrades or patches come in that would radically change anything, how do you guys handle that in the rule structure, or how does that be handled usually?
Anything super drastic, we'll obviously be looking at. For the most part, there's not a lot of rules changes PGI makes that affect our rules. Once in a while it comes up, and if it's something huge, then we have to look at it. The one in particular right now is the Artie airstrike thing, right? The second they make a change to it, we're going to be analyzing it and seeing, hey, can we bring this full time back to the league? I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the strikes. They're a great concept. They do amazing things to the way the game is played. They're just, when you can double leg a Highlander at 72 leg armor in 1 strike, or just random headshot assault mechs off the map, it's that stuff. But
I think there is a provision in the rules that says we reserve the right to change rules at any time, and that's not just in there to amend rules for seeing like loopholes, but really, if there is a change that does affect the rules, we will look at it and decide whether we need to change something or not.
No, I fully understand. I was just wondering, if it's significant enough, would it pause the game or a round, per se? Or what's the usual process?
It can happen, yes. In Season 1, I think we had to take a 2-week break for something. I can't remember what it was.
8 to 12, man.
Did they?
8 to 12, yeah.
That was Season 2 that happened. Season 1, there was something, they took away 8-mans for 2 months, or a month, or... I think that one stopped our HOD in its tracks for a month there, right? When they took away our 8-mans?
We took a little bit of... I think we took a couple-week break there. That must have been in February or March or something like that.
Those were dark times.
I think there was a little break. It wouldn't have been open-closed because the league was already... or wasn't even ongoing. I don't remember. But yeah, I don't remember exactly what happened that caused Season 1 to go on break.
So, it was a while ago. So, the point is, it can happen. Hopefully it won't, PGI's gotten past ruining their game randomly, I think. I hope.
I don't know. I kind of want to see missiles that make 90-degree turns and go over buildings again.
Okay, any other questions?
Thanks for doing this, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, it's because we love this game that we do it, so.
Sir, that wasn't a question. That was a question.
That was my suck-up moment, yeah.
Yeah, how dare you compliment us?
Don't inflate his ego anymore.
He won't be able to leave the channel.
Yeah, I won't fit out the door.
That's a lot of work. Good work. Thank you.
Absolutely.
How many teams total do you have?
We are sitting at 24 teams.
Round of
possibly
applause.
More coming. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a lot.
The whole community
6
round of
tiers?
applause. So what we're doing is, well, I guess to go over the tier thing, we're 4 tier 1, 4 tier 2, 4 tier 3, 4 tier 4. That's how it's got to work. With the pirates, 4 pirates will always be attacking the houses, or the factions, 1 per faction. All the rest of the pirates, we can take on as many pirates as we want, as long as it's divisible by 2. All the extra pirates, short of the first 4, basically the pirates will just fight amongst other pirates. So we can take on as many pirate units as we want, technically, as long as it's divisible by 2.
I've got a question, Tony.
Yeah.
Suppose something happens like last season where one team either gets better members or just gets better in general and moves up the tiers. Is there any way of changing the team composition of tiers? Or, well,
So the
yeah,
dream,
just changing teams in general.
Yeah, the dream is that doesn't happen. I mean, the first trial position from last season was all screwed up because 8-man switched to 12-mans halfway through the trial position. So pretty illegitimized part of the trial position last season. This season, we're doing it a lot more. Hopefully we're not, after a month of playing trial position, any teams that are going to drop out will have. So the dream is that won't happen. Can it happen? Definitely. I mean, we saw 228 start the campaign as a tier 3 and end effectively as a tier 1, right? So it is definitely possible. We have enough teams that hopefully if it did, it shouldn't destabilize things too much. And unfortunately, short of reorganizing the factions midway through, which is really awkward, there's not a good way to address that problem. Which is why we want to put a lot of focus into the trial position to work all that stuff out.
And originally, that was the reason why we extended the trial position in the first place, was so that we could hash out a lot of the wondering if this person or this team was worth third or second tier, or first or second, or whatever.
It's possible you might be able to plug a pirate in if they get good enough.
No, actually, that's exactly what the pirates are for. Is to the second a team drops out, we pick the best pirate available to sort of replace them, kind of thing. Unfortunately, so what do you do if Steel Jag drops out randomly? Not to say it couldn't happen, but a pirate probably wouldn't replace Steel Jag properly, right? So
Siri takes half of their players.
To join a pirate league.
Molten Jaguar. The new team.
Iron Jaguar.
Iron Jaguar, yeah, that's even better, yeah.
Siri Jaguar, that would be the name.
That works too.
Suri-chan.
Siri-chan Jaguar.
No, it's all pink and shit. It's like hello. No, it's hello Jaguar.
Hello, Jaguar. Oh, that works. They like their cat pictures.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so, the answer to that question is simply, is there a perfect system to replace teams that drop out or change their status as a comp team? Not really, unfortunately. There's just no real way to do it effectively. If a system comes up where we can definitely look at it. But the current system is supposed to be, if a team drops out, we find a suitable replacement for them. Yes. If that's possible, right? There's only one Steel Jaguar there. Right over my shoulder. So, now, if a tier 3 or a tier 4 team drop out, that part works a lot easier. A tier 4 team is instantly replaceable with the top pirate unit. It's you get into troubles when it's at the higher tiers.
So that means encourage your higher tiers to stick around.
Oh, Queen Blade got a good question. How to report your matches. So, veterans of last season already know, but in the forums, hopefully it's clearly labeled, you'll have the results section for the different phases.
Disconnected from your channel.
In that, you will simply put your, the winner of the game is responsible for posting screenshots of all the results. Trial of position isn't super important, but in the main campaign, we have a system where if the winning team does not post all the screenshots within 24 hours, the losing team can post any of them that they missed, and they will score 5 bonus points. Simply put, we need the screenshots to legitimize the, you know what I mean, the results. So, we need you guys to take screenshots. Anytime you're confused as to the format of how to do things, you can totally just look at what someone else does and copy theirs and replace the names, obviously.
Or get a hold of one of us.
If it's not in the current forum section, you can't find an example, go look in. I've got the Season 2 stuff still there in the background. Go check at that. You'll find what you're looking for in a template to go off of there.
I will also say that recording and or streaming your matches will go a long way for any kind of rules problems or, whether or not you won or lost or whatever. It will go a long way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do have one question. I know there's been talk about how the seeding is going to be done. I think it would make sense to have, before it's, really solidified what teams are going to be seeded where, to have a system in place, for, exactly, this team of this tier is going to be paired with this team of this tier and that team of that tier. Before it's clear, who's going to settle down where, so that there's no conflict over that.
It will be.
Yeah. We've already got the system set up, and I know, pretty sure it's you that we've been talking on the forums about different systems that could work.
Right.
Since we've before it was awkward when we only had 3 teams per faction.
Right, 4 is a lot easier, but there's still a couple ways of doing it. You can do 1, 2, 3, 4, or you can do 1, 4, 1, 4. Or, there's a lot of different sort of quote-unquote balanced ways of doing it.
We have one system in particular we're looking at, but we also have another system that could work. We'd prefer not to tell you exactly how we're going to do it at the very beginning of the trial, simply because I guess you could throw matches and fuck with the results, right?
Yeah, so, there's a lot not being disclosed just for the simple fact you don't want it abused. And so it's not play to the best of your ability and you'll be rewarded, but at the same time, we don't want you to go, if I had only lost this one, I would have been on this team and whatever, whatnot.
No, I mean, obviously we aren't going to throw any matches. I was just, making sure, because I know that could potentially, if it's not already sort of set in stone before the ratings solidify, people might say, oh, well, they picked this particular way out of, the 8 possible ways of doing it, because this way they get these people, and just as long as there's something set in stone and, it's not going to change, that's fine. I don't need to know what it is, that doesn't matter.
Well, and, just because we have the 4 teams per division, we can do it 5 different ways, and it has the same fairness, essentially, right?
Right. So, well, my point is that at some point one of them just needs to be picked, and
one
stuck
pick,
with, and that's all there is to it.
Yep, and that's exactly it. So we'll have that set within the next week here, definitely. We had to wait till we knew how many teams we had, so we could know how many teams per faction we had, but now that we know, and we know we're going to be 4 tiers, sorting the teams is easier than it's ever going to be.
Okay,
because 3 tiers didn't work very well compared to what 4 can do.
That's all I'm saying, okay?
So I noticed there's only 3 Tier 1 teams. Is basically the winner of the trial position for Tier 2 going up to Tier 1?
I don't know.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, just double checking.
There is a system set in place to recognize and equalize the players and the different tier levels.
But again, we don't want to disclose so it doesn't get abused.
They have it because it never.
YouTube links are the best, Parduk. That's definitely got to be the easiest thing. Any resolution. I mean, I can't tell you. You gotta have HD resolution, or I'm not even gonna watch it. Well, that's obviously not the case. So, and once again, it's not. We're not trying to force. Well, we totally are trying to force you to do it. I don't care what the quality is. It's just we want to start getting this rolling, start getting a database of all these competitive games for anyone who cares that can just go and watch them, right? It's amazing advertising for your unit. I mean, that's it. It pays for itself, right? Well, we always
and Merchstar has plans with that footage, so please make it as best you can with the footage. We would greatly appreciate HD, but we understand that that's also not always practical for people's computers.
Yeah.
But I would love you with the bottom of my heart, and I am a judge, so get on my good side and give me HD footage.
American Civil War's legitimacy just got thrown out the window.
Yeah. So SIG wins all their games because they have HD everything?
Like
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
That's what I heard too.
So, and once again, the dream with the Mercstar thing is you click on the videos and you'll get a list of the 30 different comp teams. And then you can click on the comp teams folder and you'll see there are 30 different American Civil War games, and be able to look at them. And worst case scenario, no one ever looks, but your team now has a database of all your games to show your new recruits, right?
And also this means you can actually, view game tape on your enemies upcoming.
Yeah.
And you can also view your own game tapes and go, oh, this is where I screwed up.
Yeah. Now, for what it's worth, the whole learning what your opponent's comps are, things like that, we had toyed with the fairness of that and simply put, when you have to post the screenshots, everyone knows what you're running anyways. So, does the video really make it worse? Not really. And you have the option of not posting it, you totally do. But your opponent will gain the bonus points, and you won't, but that makes sense since he's showing you his gameplay and you're not, right? Any other questions? Alright, guys. Thank you for your time. I appreciate that.
Joined your channel.
We'll stop the meeting here. And as I said, most of us will be around for at least the next hour if you have more questions or you need us to help you with anything.
And just in general in the future, the judges tend to be the ones that are on the server the most. So get a hold of us at any time.
User in your channel stops recording.
If you have any questions at all, if there's a question before a game, if there's a question about a game, whatever, just ask the judge. A judge can definitely answer those questions. And asking a question before you make a decision to a judge rather than asking after you make a decision definitely goes a long way.
And you're more than welcome to ask us to look at the drop deck that you're about to compete with to make sure it's legal.
For sure. Unless we're playing against you, which that would be retarded. But,
yeah, well, at that part.
Well, and then there's someone else you can talk to, I'd assume, right? I mean, it's not like there's only
absolutely.
one person.
Yeah, we're all on different units, so you won't be fighting us all at the same time.
And on that note, actually, like if you're playing 228th and you say we're sided with 228th, we're not going to tell 228th your drop deck, or at least I will not. I know Versi will not. I know Queen will not tell anybody else because we're not those kind of guys at all.
We wouldn't be judges if we were.
Yeah.
I guess one last thing just to go over is just the chassis restriction rule. This is arguably the most complicated aspect of American Civil War. Once you get it, it works great, and trust us, this system works really good for diversifying your mech loadouts. It really stops that whole 9 Highlanders, 3 Jenners kind of comp. I'm trying to pull up the text so I can just copy and paste it, but it changes between the 550 drop and then the 675 and 800. The 550 drop is less restricted because we only have so many light choices. But then the heavier drops are more restricted and forces you to take other assault mechs that aren't just the Highlander. Essentially.
User left your
All right.
channel.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna hop out of the room, start the Exodus going. But you know where to find us if there's anything we can do to help.
User disconnected from your channel. User left your channel.
Thanks again, guys.
User
Good luck in your
left
games.
User disconnected.
Thanks, man.
User left your channel. User left your channel.
Thank you.
User left your channel. User left your channel.